Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm assuming if you clicked on the video, you want to learn how to set up and run your own SMAA business. And that's what I'm hoping to help you guys with today. I started my agency earlier this month, so I'm hoping to share a few of the things that I learned and kind of fast track you guys on your journey to being successful agent owners. So a little bit about myself. My name is Anthony and I am 22, about to be 23. Just graduated college a few months ago, 6 months ago. And I'm working a 9-to-5 job. And it's cool, but I don't always want to work a 9-to-5. I want to work for myself. I want to be free. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's get into it. Now there's a huge controversy over what you need and what you don't need when you're starting. I'd like to go over some of the things that you do not need. You do not need a website. You don't need a domain name. You don't need a social media account that has thousands of followers to make you look more legitimate. And you don't need a contract. Now that's not to say you shouldn't have them. Some of those might help, but the bare minimum, if you're just getting started, you don't really need those. Now, what you do need, internet access will help. Phone, computer, something of that nature, and most importantly, a strategy. The first thing you need to understand when you're starting your agency is what you want to accomplish. What is the benefit of your service? When your customer works with you, what should they expect? Is it lead generation? Is it brand awareness? Are you going to guarantee a certain return on investment? Now, if you're first starting, I would definitely not recommend guaranteeing anything because that might make you end up losing money. If you know exactly what you're doing, that's something that you can look into. But if you're just starting out, I wouldn't guarantee anything. Secondly, how are you planning on achieving this? It depends on your customer, really. What platforms are you familiar with? Facebook typically is the easiest place to start. It has the most users, which is more people to target. And a great tip here is if your product or service is from business to customer, then you should focus mainly on TikTok or Instagram. And if your product or service is business to business, then you would focus on something more sophisticated like LinkedIn or Twitter. The third thing that you want to decide on is how are you going to outreach? How are you planning to contact your customers? And the main three that I want to talk about are DMing, emailing, and cold calling. Now for DMing, there's a few ways you can go about it. The basic way is to just type something up, but to engage more with your customer, it might help if you have a video, personalize it. You want them to feel like you're the only one they're talking to and you're not sending out a mass text to a million people. If you're not comfortable with a video, audio messages are good too. Cool place to start. For cold calling, you have to know what you're talking about. You have to at least think you know what you're talking about. If you're on a phone and you don't think you know what you're talking about, they definitely don't know what you're talking about. So I'm speaking from experience. My first phone call, I'm not gonna say I didn't know what I was talking about, but maybe I just didn't sound the most confident. Confidence is key with cold calling. That's my biggest tip for cold calling. Next is emailing. Do not make a list of 50 customers or clients and copy them on the same email and mass send it out. Low success rate with that. You wanna personalize each email, which takes a long time, I know, but it would give you the best results. The fourth thing is the goal. When we're reaching out to customers, don't try to close them. When you're first cold calling or emailing or DMing, do not try to close them on your product. What you want to do is close them on a meeting so you can explain your service to them a little bit better. Some free game here, if you're trying to reach out to a customer and they're, on the fence, not sure if they want to do a meeting or anything like that, what you could say to them would be, at the very least, I've given you a website audit and a free strategy meeting that you can use and implement in the future completely for free. If nothing goes right and you don't want to work with us, then you got a free audit, free strategy. So once they're at the meeting, you want to explain how you would improve their website, improve their advertising, something of that nature, and what strategy you might be planning on using if they do decide to work with you. That's what you would want to do in the meeting. I can't stress this enough. In your meeting, you have not closed unless you got paid. Preferably, I would try to get payment before hanging up the phone. And lastly, in this meeting, you want to set up your onboarding meeting. If they decide to work with you, you need to set up an onboarding meeting. In this onboarding meeting, there's a few things that will have to be discussed. I wrote them down just to make sure I didn't forget, but here we go. Firstly, you need to get set up in their ads manager account. This allows you to essentially post ads on their behalf and make sure that it is their credit card on file and not yours. Nextly, you would send over a contract. I can do a video on, contract formatting, stuff like that, but you don't need it, especially when you're first starting out. But if you're progressing and, you're a well-off agency, know what you're doing, maybe you should have a contract. Next, you want to include a questionnaire, and questionnaire is just to help you do your job a little bit better. So have you worked with an agency before? If not, why? If so, why? Things of that nature. What's your demographic? You know, I can do a whole video on questionnaires too, if that would help y'all. Nextly, in this onboarding meeting, you will want to create a group with your clients to outline kind of when you're available to talk with them. And lastly, you want to send over a contact folder. So essentially they can upload photos and videos and you would use that in your advertising. And that is the gist of what you want to accomplish in your onboarding meeting. Now, after all of that has been done, number one, make sure you've been paid. Can't stress that enough. You don't work for free, okay? And make sure you have access to their ads manager. You have to be able to post ads in order to do your job. So those are the two things you really want to make sure went flawlessly. And after all of that, it's time to start advertising. It's time! So, if this video helped you at all, please let me know in the comments. And if you want me to do more videos like I was naming throughout the entire time, then also put certain topics that you want to hear more about. Yeah, I hope this helped, and I'll see y'all later.